I'm like, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care.
It finally happened. After months of silence, speculation, and growing frustration from all sides, Bella Ramsey broke her silence. And what she had to say sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Appearing on a low-profile podcast that was supposed to be a casual conversation about career updates, Bella dropped the unexpected bombshell she's quitting The Last of Us. But what really caught everyone's attention wasn't just her decision to walk away, it was her admission of why. For the first time, Bella acknowledged the mounting fan backlash, the online campaigns against her, and the cold shoulder from HBO as the driving reasons behind her exit. And while some tried to paint it as a graceful departure, the truth was far from pretty.
I had to not like each other for a bit.
You had to not like me, which
True.
came easy.
Bella's podcast appearance started out friendly enough. The host asked the usual questions, what she's been up to, what projects she's looking forward to, and how the ride with The Last of Us has been, but the tone shifted quickly. When asked directly if she was returning for season 3, Bella paused, sighed, and said, "I don't think I'm the right person for Ellie anymore." Just like that, the internet lit up. But what followed was even more telling. She admitted that the criticism had worn her down, that the pressure of trying to win over a divided fan base had become unbearable, and that she felt like the character no longer belonged to her. And for once, she was right. From the very start, Bella's casting as Ellie was controversial. Longtime fans of the game felt the decision didn't honor the spirit of the original character. It wasn't just about physical resemblance, it was about energy, tone, and authenticity. Ellie was a deeply loved character with layers of nuance. Bella's version never seemed to click with the core audience, and rather than try to understand that, Bella often pushed back in interviews, brushing off the criticism as gatekeeping or resistance to change. But now, years later, she was finally admitting what many had said from day one. It didn't work.
I'm sorry. That was acting. That's what that was. I don't really care what happens with this movie. I really hope her career is pretty much over. I'd be thrilled to see that. I can't imagine. I mean, Chris.
When Bella Ramsey was cast, throughout the podcast, Bella danced between frustration and defeat. She talked about how tough it was reading comments online, how every interview she did was dissected, how parody clips, memes, and video essays painted her as the problem. And while she tried to laugh some of it off, her tone made it clear. This wasn't just criticism, it was rejection. And not just from trolls, but from the very community that The Last of Us was built on. What made this interview even more shocking was how much Bella seemed to admit without directly saying it. She never once blamed HBO by name, but she made clear that certain decisions behind the scenes left her feeling sidelined. She hinted at how marketing focused more on Pedro Pascal in season 2. She alluded to how her scenes were being cut down, and at one point she even said, "It felt like the show was trying to move past me while I was still there." That one line said it all. Bella knew the writing was on the wall. She just hadn't said it out loud until now.
Like most people, I liked the first season. I thought they did a great job. Season 2, I was skeptical on them not recasting Ellie and keeping Bella Ramsey as Ellie because it's supposed to take place 5 years into the future, but obviously Bella Ramsey in real life was not going to age that much in, the 2 years it took between seasons. So in the show, Ellie still looks exactly the same, but is supposed to be 5 years older. Also, Ellie still acts exactly the same. For some reason, they made the decision for The Last of Us Season 2 to make Ellie dumb, to the point where she even says that she's stupid. Why?
And once she did, the industry reacted instantly. Fans flooded comment sections. Some were supportive, but many were brutally honest. It was time, one viewer wrote. Ellie deserves better. Others questioned why she waited this long to acknowledge what fans had been saying for years. For those who had stuck by the franchise, it felt like closure. The chapter was ending. Bella was out, and maybe, just maybe, Ellie could finally be recast with someone who understood the weight of the role. Of course, Bella tried to frame her exit as a personal decision, one made to preserve her peace, her mental health, and her creative integrity. but the podcast made it painfully clear that this wasn't her first choice. This was damage control, a last attempt to take back the narrative before HBO officially replaced her, and judging by her tone, even she knew it wouldn't be enough.
Yes, maybe we can prop it open with something and you can slide. Whoa! Oh my god, what? Is it getting bigger? Stop it. No, seriously, what's with that? It's fine, Joel. Does it hurt? Joel, please, you're making me self-conscious. I'm sorry, it's just a little bit startling. Normal head, Joel, can we just get back to the door thing? It's planetary. Leave it. It's gonna have its own area code soon.
Show is finally speaking out about its failure. The Last of Us creator Craig Mazin admits season 2 was a fake finale, drew over 50% less than the finale of season 1. You lost.
Meanwhile, HBO has remained quiet, no official statement, no confirmation of Bella's departure, but insiders are already leaking information. According to one source, producers had already begun auditioning other actresses months ago. Another insider claimed that scripts for season 3 were being rewritten to minimize Ellie's role or shift focus entirely. Whether Bella left on her own or was pushed out remains a matter of interpretation, but the outcome is the same. She's gone, and the franchise is moving forward without her. What makes all of this even more revealing is how Bella's reputation has evolved since her debut on The Last of Us. When she was first announced as the lead, the press hailed her as a bold, fresh choice. The narrative was all about redefining expectations and bringing something new to Ellie. But as the episodes aired and fans voiced their disappointment, the tone shifted. Bella became defensive. She gave interviews dismissing criticism as immaturity or close-mindedness. But the fan base didn't back down. They didn't just want something new, they wanted something right.
Up your impression at all, or is it pretty much the same?
Well, the noise is the same. I've not got any more noises in my back. The new infected are pretty terrifying. They're so smart, and they haven't really got a noise. That's the whole point of them. They're silent and terrifying.
Ooh, give us a little silent and terrifying.
And over time, it became clear that Bella's approach wasn't winning anyone over. Not the casual viewers, not the hardcore gamers, and certainly not the critics who began calling out the tonal mismatches in her performance. Her portrayal often felt forced, like she was trying to prove something instead of simply living in the character. And as each episode aired, the distance between the audience and Bella's Ellie grew wider. Now, with her podcast confession, even Bella acknowledges that divide. She tried to fight it. She tried to ignore it. But in the end, it consumed her role. The podcast didn't end on a hopeful note. Bella didn't tease new projects. She didn't speak about future plans with excitement. She spoke like someone closing a door, unsure if another one would open. Her fans are still waiting for an official announcement from HBO, but at this point, it feels unnecessary. Bella herself made it clear she's done. And now the speculation begins. Who will replace her? Will Ellie even be recast or written out? Will the show acknowledge the change or pretend nothing happened? The truth is, the fan base is already moving on. Forums are filled with fan casts. Reddit threads are celebrating the idea of a fresh start. TikTok creators are already imagining what season 3 could look like without Bella. And for many, it's a relief. Not because they wanted to see someone fail, but because they want the story done right. Bella Ramsey's podcast appearance may have been meant as closure, but for the industry and the audience, it was confirmation. Confirmation that the experiment didn't work. That casting a character as iconic as Ellie requires more than boldness. It requires connection, trust, and humility. Bella had the spotlight, she had the platform, but she lost the people she needed most, the fans. In the days following the podcast, mainstream media picked up the story. Headlines like Bella Ramsey quits The Last of Us amid fan pressure and podcast bombshell Ellie actress walks away filled entertainment blogs, but none of the coverage spun it as a victory. It wasn't brave, it wasn't empowering, it was a retreat, and in Hollywood, retreats rarely lead to comebacks. Producers know that, casting directors know that, agents know that, and now, so does Bella. Her departure leaves behind a complicated legacy. She may have been cast in one of television's biggest adaptations, but she leaves without a defining moment, without a signature scene, without the audience's embrace. And in this industry, that matters more than any press release ever could. The Last of Us will go on, Ellie will return in some form, and fans will keep watching, but Bella Ramsey will no longer be part of that journey. And in the end, that's what defines this story, not what Bella tried to make Ellie into, but what Ellie became without her. In the wake of Bella Ramsey's podcast confession, the entertainment world didn't wait for her to regroup. It kept moving. HBO's social media accounts made subtle but telling changes. Banner images that once featured Bella's Ellie were quietly updated. Promo reels began leaning heavily on Pedro Pascal, with Ellie's character conspicuously absent. Comment sections across official posts began filling up with fans celebrating the shift. "We might finally get our Ellie," one fan wrote. Season 3 might actually feel like The Last of Us again. Industry analysts also weighed in. Several prominent entertainment blogs published breakdowns of how Bella's exit could signal a course correction for the show. Some speculated that HBO had been preparing for this all along, citing behind-the-scenes sources who claimed new creative directions had been discussed for months. Others suggested the network had learned from its mistake. Don't fight the audience when the material is this beloved. Casting rumors flooded the internet within days. Some fans pushed for unknown actresses who better resembled the game's Ellie. Others suggested rising stars who already had fan goodwill. One popular theory even floated the idea of completely rebooting Ellie's storyline, allowing for a fresh introduction with a new face and a tone more aligned with the original game. Whatever direction HBO chooses, one thing is certain: Bella's absence is no longer a liability. It's a blank canvas. Meanwhile, Bella's silence following the podcast has only added to the speculation. She hasn't posted on her social media. She hasn't followed up with any interviews or clarification. Her official pages haven't acknowledged the podcast at all. To fans and critics alike, this radio silence feels like resignation. Not a pause before a comeback, but the quiet that comes when someone knows their moment has passed. And for The Last of Us, this moment could mark a much-needed revival. With Bella gone, the show has a chance to win back the fans it lost, to reconnect with the audience that made the game a legend, to deliver a version of Ellie that truly honors the story that started it all. And for Bella, it's the end of a chapter that never truly belonged to her.